I've already gotten a ticket.
Right.
All right?
I'm already in a relationship.
I'm already
married.
That's right.
I already have a house.
That's right.
So to go beyond that and be unreasonable,
right,
to question where I am that's not working for me,
right,
it's easier to stay here.
Well, that would also mean you're not great. I'm not grateful. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you're unreasonable, then that means you're not grateful for where you are.
Hello and welcome to another episode of That's Not Your Life with Chantel Malord. I'm so glad we're connecting. Today, of course, I have Tammy Turner, who we've been having a conversation with. Tammy, welcome. I'm so happy to have you back, honey.
Thank you so much. I'm always happy to be here with you.
So great that our last few conversation, I took so much away from you as far as where you are, mm-hmm, what you're committing to and where you're going. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what was your takeaway from our last conversation? What did you get?
I have a few takeaways.
Okay.
The main one was a conversation we had after the interview was over.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In reference to not becoming a crutch. And not replacing the old conditioning that I already had.
Right.
We learn to have these crutches, whether they're people. Sometimes our crutch becomes our spouse or a girlfriend or boyfriend.
Fantastic.
Sometimes our crutch becomes alcohol or maybe some other drug. Sometimes the crutch even becomes the church. Sometimes a crutch can be even people doing acts of service.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because if you're doing acts of service, and that keeps you from fulfilling your purpose, what you're really supposed to be here doing,
right,
you feel good about it because at least you're,
Yeah.
And so I think as a society, we've learned that. We've learned to do that. And I was just laughing because I was thinking about the conversation that we had after where you said, I wanted you to come and I wanted to be a support for you, but I would not become your crutch for you. Right. Which meant that I had to stay in my practice. Yes. I had to stay in my prayer. I had to stay in my meditation. Yes. I have to refer back to what I've learned and understand, okay, if I'm in a specific situation, who's talking? Is it the ego talking? Is it my heart talking to me? Which one? And being able to identify those two characters living within me. So I think that was the biggest takeaway.
Good for you, because most often people might misunderstand that or misconstrued it as being, disengaging. Mm-hmm. What I've learned, to your point, is that we're in a society where we discovered a mentality of learned helplessness, where we go from one situation to the next, hoping that someone can continue to build on our weaknesses and keeping us small. And not for you or anybody. You're too big for me to have you play small or commit to you playing small. So I can't be that for you or anybody. Especially I'm a vessel that is being used to transition you. This is a journey.
Yeah.
And what I don't want to become is that person that I can't make a move without Chantel. No, you're fully equipped to serve the divine design of your life. Okay? So I'm not gonna be that crutch, and I refuse to be that, and I love you too much to have that happen. So with that being said, I don't know if you remember our conversation the first time you was here, and you came in,
oh Lord,
you was ready to go. You felt like, here I am performing again. I'm on the second floor, and I've moved up to the second floor of my performance.
Encore. This is the encore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you was ready to leave Jupiter.
Packed my bag.
Packed your bag and all.
My bag was nice and neat.
You packed the car, girl. You got dressed.
Yes, I did.
And you was ready to get in that car, leaving here.
Yes.
The same condition you came.
Yes. Yes.
But you almost sold it to yourself. And this is when I knew that I was willing to work with you. I wouldn't take it on until then. Because you notice the first few days, I just let you be.
Yes, you did.
Because what happened a lot of time, if you do it prematurely, try to take away from people what they value the most. That helplessness served you. That codependent served you. That wanting to be in control, manipulation served you. And for me to come in at the beginning and trying to snatch that, you wouldn't like me that much. So I had to allow you to go through what most people, the motion, right? Like going through the motion. How was your rehearsal, Tammy, right? How was your rehearsal being here for those 3 days? Packed your bag, got in the car, went on the highway. Tell me about that situation.
Okay, well, let me just preface it with this. Okay, let me just say this.
Go ahead, Tammy.
You know, we're taught you don't overstay your welcome, right? That is reasonable, right? We're taught that you don't want to get in somebody's space too much. That's reasonable, right? So it had been 3 days and you were gracious enough, to allow me those 3 days. And we had a couple of conversations but nothing too deep. And I knew that I needed more, just like I think I alluded to this on a previous episode. I knew I needed more. I knew there was something that I was missing. But mama and daddy and them taught me well. I didn't want to be unreasonable about my change or my life or infringe on someone else or have someone else say, oh my God, she overstayed her welcome, or, is she still here, or whatever. Just all of those voices, all of that chatter. I wasn't ready to fight to be unreasonable. That's where the freedom is.
Right.
I wasn't ready to fight for that yet. So I got up that morning. I won't even preface it with how hard it was to get the ticket. Okay, that was another conversation. Remember? I don't know if you remember that. Won't even preface it with that. Got up that morning, put my clothes on, felt a little something, but kept going. Packed the bag, brought the suitcase downstairs, go through the kitchen, hug all the children, tell them bye. One of the kids looked up at me and said, "You're leaving?" And I said, "Oh, yes, baby, I got to go back home." And so, I proceed to walk out to the car. I can start to feel a little bit more in my stomach, but I'm good. It's time for me to go.
You're playing the part.
It's time to go.
Right, you playing the part.
All right, I've already gotten the ticket.
Right.
All right.
I'm already in a relationship.
I'm already
married.
That's right.
I already have a house.
That's right.
So to go beyond that and be unreasonable,
right,
to question where I am, that's not working for me.
Right.
It's easier to stay here.
Well, that would also mean you're not great. I'm not grateful. You know what I'm saying? If you're unreasonable, then that means you're not grateful for where you are.
Right.
We're taught to be content with where we are, with who we are. I remember my first teaching for that came from the church. Look, you need to just be content with what the Lord has done already and let that be that. Okay. So that was my conditioning. Start driving. And I'm feeling a little unwell, but I'm not even saying anything because I got to get to the airport.
Right. You performing your routine.
I'm performing my routine. Yeah. This is what I do. You just keep going, right? If I'm in pain, but the children need something, I keep going.
Right.
If there's something going on, but something needs to be had for someone in the household or my mom or whoever, keep going.
You keep going.
Right? You don't stop.
Play hurt.
You don't, plus I was taught, it don't hurt that bad where I'm from.
Right.
It's
man
like,
up.
well, who you think you are? Man up. That's right. That's right. You man up.
Wow.
So that's the mentality that I had.
So I get that you on the highway.
On the highway.
You had to be pulled over because you got that sick.
I got almost to the airport. And I could feel my stomach saying, "You're not gonna make it." They've got to pull this car over. There's no way you're gonna make it. And I couldn't even make it to the car being pulled over before I began to vomit. And I didn't know where it came from. I didn't know why it was coming. I haven't vomited in about 10 years when I had a stomach virus, like all those years ago. Other than that, I don't do things I don't really even get sick in that way.
What was that signal for you? What was your body, your mind, or the universe telling you at that point?
Not to get on that plane. That enough was enough. And because I had been here those 3 days, you had imparted, right? And like I said earlier, you can't unknow what you've already learned. Now you know it. You can't unknow it now. This is like if I see something, I can't unsee it.
Right.
You know, it's a pink elephant. Immediately that pink elephant appears in your mind. You can't unsee that now, right? So I knew that there was change available to me. I knew that this change that I was seeking, I wasn't crazy because I saw someone's life like I saw it being lived. But I was gonna get on that plane because it was, you know.
That's what you know.
That was on the schedule, and
you've lived your whole life pretending, wanting something, but aren't committed enough to go after it.
That's it.
Welcome back to That's Not Your Life with Chantel Malloy. Of course, Tammy Turner here as we get to finish our conversation. Thank you so much, Tammy. I could not help but think about what you were talking about. And I remember vividly that day when you came back. I knew then I was willing to work with you. Before then, you weren't ready. When you came back, I was like, she's ready. You ready for the grown-up stuff.
I was ready for the grown-up stuff. I was ready.
Because before we were doing the patty caking stuff, I came, I got help. Look at me. I got help to the point I'm ready to go back. And so we live life assuming that we want something, but it wasn't until you was unreasonable.
Right.
With the innate desire
right.
to dig deeper.
Right.
And I want to talk about that work. Okay. But tell me, while you was on the highway, pulled over, what were you thinking? What did you do? How did you end up back to the farm?
After the whole getting sick episode, pulling over to the side of the road, trying to find a store to just kind of gather myself. I was on the call with the professor, Lanon.
Yes.
And he said in this very mild voice, it was very calming. He said, "It's not time for you to go yet." And that, hearing those words that don't seem like a lot, but it helped me know that there were people here who cared about me, who cared about my transformation. And because I had made the decision to be unreasonable, I knew that it was time for me to come back.
Wow. Tell me, where else does that way of being, where you went through the motion of being packed? I mean, you took a shot, you look good, girl, you was ready to go.
Yes.
Where else does that show up in life for you?
Oh my goodness. With me as a mom, with me for many years at the church, going back and forth to the church. Even sometimes, even in my performances, sometimes, because I'm not feeling confident about who I am or what I have. I show up and people love, what I do. But when you are an artist, everyone else can think that what you're doing is great. Right. But if you don't have that love, that where man, I killed it there, or I gave it my best there, or I gave it my all there, it really doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. Right. Now you just have a whole bunch of people telling you how great you are. Right. But it doesn't mean anything unless you know or have accepted how phenomenal you really are.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I came back.
Wow. So you came back. I was happy for you. And I knew then you were ready to bring your best and highest self forward. And then it's in your best and highest state that you will make provision for Tammy. Because living in that state that you had been conditioned to live in since you was 17, I think it was.
Well, I've been conditioned my whole life.
Right. But at the age of 17, you made that decision to get with your husband and stay there because it's comfortable.
Yes.
It's comfortable. And it's a sense of covering. It's inauthentic.
Yeah.
And so and you've learned to live in authenticity, and that it showed up for you in other areas of your life.
Yes.
So in that process, I felt like a proud parent. I did. And I know you and I are probably the same age. But the part that I felt so proud about is that I'm looking at you like our Heavenly Father look at us. And looking at someone who is complete, who is whole, who is capable, who is dynamic, phenomenal. And I can go on and go on and go on. And you know I don't do those words.
I know.
I'm doing it to paint that picture for you.
I know.
And I looked at it and I had to be unreasonable because it was easier for me to allow you to be where you chose to be. But I had to step in and to be for you what you would have been for me had I been in your position. And I remember in that process, we made some great discoveries.
Yes, we did.
And I know that must have been one of the hardest discoveries for you.
Yes. For someone to hold up a mirror in front of you and show you yourself. Show you all your crap. Show you all of your stuff where you want to be in control of everything. And even in the discovery phase, I'm recalling this, even us sitting on the beach and doing doing sessions. I remember, wanting to argue about certain things. Well, I want to make people feel valuable, or I want to make people feel this, or I want people to feel that, or feel, and you asking me like, well, who are you to why do you have to do that? If can you just be that for someone?
Right.
But I was so used to in my business.
Right.
Again, they're stuck in their story when they come to me.
Yep.
They're stuck in the story of mom rejecting them. They're stuck in the story of daddy leaving them. They're stuck in those stories. And it's showing up in their finances and it's showing up in their business. So now my job is to get them unstuck.
Right.
So let me tell you who you are. Right. I want people to know their value because for so long I didn't know mine.
Right. You're trying to be for people what most people haven't been for you.
Exactly.
And so you have it that you want to show up as a superwoman.
Right.
The thing is, I remember vividly that conversation that you was, on the beach, you wanted to praise me or honor me, which is perfect. But the meaning, it's in the meaning we get caught. Because I think you were saying, you're phenomenal. So to be phenomenal, if I'm phenomenal, what are you? And I'm okay for those acknowledgement. But can we be without being?
Right. Can we be without being?
Can you be great without having to put a meaning on it?
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of time we get caught up because it has to have meaning. The human being, we thrive on three things. The need for meaning. Oh, I have to have a purpose. I need to do something.
Yeah.
So my life has to be great.
Yeah.
Or in the need to look good. So at whatever it costs, because I don't want John, Peter, Tom talking about me that way. I need to look good.
Yes.
And then the other thing is we want to be right. Right. Because to not be right, who are you? Right. Who are you to show up in your truth? So all of our truth and our authenticity is buried in all of that crap we make up.
That's right.
And I didn't want you too big for me. And those of you that the universe, that you channel me into your life, I know that your life is too big for me to nurture the weaknesses that already existed.
And sometimes that wanting to be right is making yourself wrong.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
making yourself the victim.
Yep.
Of whatever it is,
Yes,
or even in making yourself wrong, like staying in that state of who you're not, what you're not.
Yep.
And it becomes a lifestyle.
Yes, it does.
I was my oldest daughter is getting ready to get married, and so we would thank you. So we're moving her into her new apartment, and one of her friends was helping. Talented young man, talented comedian, just talented guy. And I began to speak into his life, and he said, "Whoa, this is too much positivity for me. I can't do this."
Hey, that's real.
He said, "I don't have this, I don't have that, I can't do this, I can't do that. That's just my lifestyle." But he was like, "Whoa, this is just too much positivity for me."
He's conditioned.
Sitting in your own crap.
Yep.
And
being
comfortable
okay
there.
with it, and would give up your life to protect it.
Absolutely.
This has been absolutely magnificent. Sharing this journey with you is amazing, and I thank you so much for showing up for yourself, and I know your children and everybody else connected with you is going to benefit from your transition.
It's my honor to be here and to have met you. Thank you, Chantal. I love you, girl.
Love you too, baby. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I truly enjoyed this opportunity and moment with you. Please stay tuned for our next episode. And remember to follow me and reach out to me at chantelmalord.com. Tammy, I'm so grateful that we had this opportunity. Thank you again for being here.
And thank you again for having me. I love you.
Hon. Thank you. Hello, my name is Chantel Malord with the Chantel Malord Show. I'm so glad you and I are connected. Remember to follow me on all my social media platforms and visit me at chantelmalord.com as we further this conversation. Let's stay connected.